We're talking with Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmitt on these Supreme Court decisions as it relates to Biden's vaccine mandates. And I think this applies to the CMS mandate as well as OSHA, because one of the I know when reading the opinion, it was touched upon that, not in these exact terms, but where does one draw the line? I mean, if you're making a mandate for this specific virus, well, my goodness, I mean, there's the flu, there's strep throat, there's all kinds of stuff, including things for which there's a number of different issues. So, maybe it's a little bit easier to say, where do you draw that line with the OSHA mandate? But for the CMS mandate as well, I mean, where do you draw that line? Because if it's going to be this government controlling, putting a needle in someone's arm for this virus, well, what about everything else? I mean, I think that applies in that case too.
Yeah, and I think that I don't agree with this, but what the liberal justices joined by Kavanaugh and Roberts agreed was that, and I don't agree with this, but that the spending provision was the hook on CMS. But by the way, that ought to be a cautionary tale for how small you want the federal government to be, because if that is the test, which, by the way, in part going back to Obamacare, they allowed states to not expand Medicaid, even though there was a spending provision. So there's some inconsistency there that, again, I think we can further flesh out. There's no statutory authority for this. They were referring to some vague health and safety, one out of several that deal with CMS. So again, this fight is not over. But I also think, Dana, an important point to make, even though it's a big win on the OSHA mandate, which was broader in scope, but I still don't think healthcare workers should have to check their constitutional rights to go to work.
Right.
They shouldn't have to have a medical procedure to keep their job. I mean, this is nuts. But you watch, I don't think this is over as far as administrative actions taken by the Biden administration. He's been dealt two big defeats now in Build Back Broke and federalizing the elections. And I think they're going to put this in what is it in Spaceballs? I guess this is me being a Gen Xer. What is it? Ludicrous speed. It's like he's going to go into ludicrous speed on these administrative actions to get around Congress, a workaround, as the justices were actually calling a workaround. And you watch, mark my words, another thing that's coming is climate change. This is an existential threat. Yeah. We're at a tipping point. We've got to do something now. And they're going to move the Green New Deal through administrative action. You watch, there's a midterm variant. There's a midterm variant coming. You watch, and it'll deal with elections. But know this, the Republican attorneys general in Missouri will be right in the lead. We're going to stop all this. We're going to continue to fight. We're not going to me, this is about who we are as a country. Okay. We believe in this experiment of self-government. We believe in individual rights. We believe that people should be able to chart their own course. And all that's on the line here, all of it, and why these cases are so important and why we're not backing down.
I agree.